People, respect. Welcome to Man Them Chat. This week we have the legendary Luton Soul Stroke Reggae sound system, Lovelite in the house with Marky B and Sherlock.
Good evening.
Blessed. Good evening, everybody.
Of the development of Lovelite, one of Luton's most beloved sound systems. Over to you guys.
I've just come on here. I've just been obviously invited. I'm just here to say, you know, what's going on and what it's all about. Really, I'm just intrigued.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So we got the invite. Obviously, Warwick has said he wanted us to come on and talk about the sound. But to be honest with you, the sound is like 40 years old this year. So
yeah, I've been with Lovelite for 30. I think I'm the youngest, by the way. I'm just letting you know. Yeah.
It's Grecian 2000 going down there. I watch him. Yeah.
But I joined. I think I joined in the 90s, and I think it was more or less just. I think for me, it was as a music lover, it was knowing that they've been around Lovelite for a good while. It's just me myself as someone who wanted to get involved, even just moving boxes and stuff like that. It's just getting involved. It was well before I was even allowed to or even thought of playing. Do you know what I'm saying? I was never ready for that yet. You know what I mean? So it was, you know, you come from sort of like doing house parties from before and stuff like that, and you sort of you get the sort of like the bug in it. So I got introduced to Carl. I think we started just turned up, wasn't playing, and just got to know all the older mans, and you know what I mean, the big man them. And it was and then I think it was everybody knew everybody because we would, you know, our parents already knew their parents anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it was just one of them ones that was just back in the day sort of thing. And you know, I think Carl sort of paved the way and introduced me into playing music more than anything. And, you know, that guy give me the chance. And you know, 30 years later, we're still doing our thing. You know,
a lot has changed in 30 years, though, isn't it, bro?
It has changed a lot. It has changed. It's the type of places we play from then is what we need to, you know, the time Clyde tells we need to find now, you know. So it was, you know, it was. I mean, the places we play, you know, God. I mean, if you go back in the day, all the illegal stuff, or the stuff wasn't supposed to be, I think was part of it, but it was all about love. It wasn't about money or anything. It wasn't about making money. Do you know what I mean? You know, we'd spend our, you know, half a lifetime record shop buying music. It wasn't to get it back. It was just that we could play it and do you know what I mean? Make people love our music. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, nowadays, I mean, we're so sort of versatile. We can play each other's music, not move out. And if we're finding fault, him and James are quick to you know, say a little word in the ear that we need to fix up sometimes on our game, because you know, sometimes we need that. But we are our unit for, you know, 30, 40 years. We're a unit and we are strong as ever. You know, what other people come through and do their thing. You know what I mean? It's all only encouragement. I think we are a sound. Obviously, we've always give people chances. Do you know what I mean? And they've become a DJ and stuff like that. So give people chances, and do you know what I mean? Because you know, when I've a chance. So as a sound, we've always given people chances. You want to come aboard? Do you want to play a set? Come play a set. Do you know what I mean?
That's good.
Yeah, that is good.
Love.
So, you want to kind of give us a little insight of how it all began, of, you know, and who was like the original members and how it all started and what?
And that'll be over to Carl.
Right. The original members are Lovelite. Yeah, Daddy O, Owen James, who passed away last year. So big up Daddy O, you know what I mean? R.I.P. You had Ken Todd, the Taliban, who was the selector. You had Goose, who was the operator, and you had Screechy, the mic man. Yeah, and I guess in those times, man like the Nugget, Fimber, them guys would have been their crew. Now, the time when I started to get involved in Lovelite, which is probably about 1986, yeah. And I remember, so me and Colonel and the boys are chilling. We'll get round to all these different people are because there's been different iterations and lineups of the sound. And I remember Goose and Screechy were in, when they came out, yeah, Goose was going traveling. I think he went to America. And Screechy came out and said, well, that's it, Lovelite's a soul sound now. Yeah. So when I got involved with Lovelite, it was properly, that was just the end of, formally, of the pure reggae era, even though we was playing a bit of soul, yeah? So when I got involved with the sound, who was actually active in the sound, Screechy, Early B, operator, Nugget was a selector, Norman and Scissors, Fimber. Fimber passed away last year as well, so yeah, I mean, R.I.P. Fimber, Scissors, big up my brother. Those are the man them that was around. And also, funny enough, there was a brother called Cheyenne, yeah? It was a mic man. It was around when I first joined, yeah? So, that's when Lovelite was going into its soul, rare groove. Hip-hop obviously blowing up then, but we was always still playing a bit of reggae, but we'd probably moved more towards being classed as soul sound, to be fair, at that point in time. And then you'd add, if you like the Bucks boy, them, that would have been me, Colonel, who's Screechy's brother, TDK, Mikey G, and Pico. That was the original crew of us lot. We actually went on to be junior Lovelite. We did a couple of dances, you know what I mean? But really a long thing, yeah? But we did a couple of parties, basically, you know what I mean? Which made us feel good because we was very young. And there was obviously young sounds trying to build it, yeah? At them times, Lovelite had a hit for the source sound there. Lovelite had a dirty set. You know, it was place. The set was crisp. So for us as young man, them getting to play party with a sound like that, it did cause a little bit of red light because why? No young youths could afford not like that. So that was a little boost for us. But basically, through that time, Lovelite was playing a lot of house blues used to go on there. Yeah. So any of the older listeners will remember the days, and that was a regular thing around the town. Dudley could probably testify to this. On any given night of the weekend, you could at least find 4 blues and Luton a run, minimum.
Yeah,
a couple of soul blues and a couple of reggae blues. There was enough to go around for everybody. Yeah. And you could move from place to place. So at that time, when I first got involved, the active sound were Gemini, I think, were just starting to wind down a bit. Sovereign was very active. Freedom was still going for a few more years, yeah? So I worked with Freedom quite a few times. Falcon at that point wasn't really active very much. Venus was still around, and there was another sound from Farley Hill. Played Venus a lot, soul sound. Gosh, it slipped my mind, it will come back to me. You know what I mean? But Luton had a lot of soul incorporated, Positive Force.
You had Black Star, didn't you?
Black Star, couple of late.
Central Line was the soul sound from Farley Hill.
What was it called?
Central Line.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was Des and them, man.
Thank you. Yeah. Scooby and Dingo used to have a little sound, right? They used to run together. Scooby used to have a little. I'm sure 3D, when he was evilly back in the day, bit himself a little set one time as well. Yeah, so there was a lot of sound, man. I'm not dissing anybody now, but back in those days, to be a sound man, you had to have a set. Those days, really, the selector selected pretty much the whole night. Nugget used to work, let me tell you. Yeah, maybe about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, the house blues, Screechy might come in with some rare groove, but it was from you worked the whole night, yeah? That's what it was like being a DJ. Well, you weren't a DJ, you was a selector. And you had an operator that was dealing with the selector. That selector only just dealt with selecting the music. That's his only job. The operator decided how the tune will come in, whether he's going to use echo chamber, you know what I mean? And he was going to bring it in. That was his job. It was very defined roles, yeah? Different that you have now when you go to dance. And you got a sound man. The person whose set you're listening to might not even be playing at all. They might not even have no DJ. There might just be a sound, PA. And you're going to get 4 or 5 different sounds, yeah? And that's just the way life has gone, yeah? The promotion game has changed. You'd get one sound playing for the night, or if you had a big place, you might get 2 sound playing together on 2 sets, juggling, sweet. Places like the Youth House, that would be a place where you could have 2 sounds strung up regular, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and we had a lot of, well, I say we had a lot of choices. A lot of the clubs didn't like to let sound in until their business was running too well, and then boy, them time we could go in there because we're making them money. But there was options, a lot more options than what we have now. And the way things have changed, even though we have a reasonable amount of sound, right about now, every town has got more DJs than people or venues. Because I'm not knocking it or saying good or bad, it just stated to you how well, I mean, how I rate a selector. Because now, if a DJ has got 1 hour and he's boom, you just thinking of boom, my hour, yeah? When you play a town, the whole night, your mentality is different because in the beginning, there's people there, so you want to build them up slowly, take them on a journey and build the dance up. So when you're playing as part of a sound, you don't really care what time you play. Yeah, you'll bridge that dance. But there's no point of playing with the bangers when there's 15 people there. Don't want to reach you. You see what I'm saying? You've got to build it up. But now the culture of the dance, unless it's people that work together on a regular basis, everyone wants to play the most boomy set, which obviously as a DJ you do. But I just look at the crowd and look at the picture and taking people on the journey and the story. So for me, I look at sound system very differently as time has gone on. You know what I mean? But I mean, the question was, who was the founder members? And look where I ended up. So someone better just keep control of this because I could just be babbling on.
So before you started into Lovelite, I mean, I remember growing up and Lovelite was the thing still, the man would say as young youths. Because obviously I'm a youth to you guys. But when it was a thing like, boy, yo, if you could sneak out, man, we're going to go down to Lovelite, you know, and it was a thing where I know it was always usually ram and it was always women and stuff like that. But I was going to ask you, did you have a musical background before that? Or is just a straight love for music?
Do you know what, yeah? I've always loved music, yeah? And just growing up with the elders with the reggae. And actually, my middle sister, Colette, I have to salute her enough because I don't think I never started to select either. That was never my job, never my ambition. I was interested in operating and that's what I was for a good while. But I think my sister, the music she exposed me to soul-wise and the depthness of it really helped me. So I always had a bug for the music. In terms of Lovelite, the irony is, I think I moved to the farm in the middle of May, 85. And at the end of May, I went down to Carnival. I was walking up and down, and about half an hour, 45 minutes from the end, I went round the back of the town hall. There was an underground car park, and I could hear some noise. And I went down there, and there was the sound playing down there. And they just had a sea of people, and the place was rocking like, whoa. Yeah, it's like, what the hell is this? I've missed this all day. Yeah. And I remember them time the Lovelite used to have a thing on the set. It was a light. It said Lovelite. It was in red writings. And I remember thinking, oh, Lovelite. And then I'd only just moved to Lucy Farm. Within a couple of months of moving up there, like I said, I started to meet Colonel Really Rare, who was Screech's brother. The sound used to be at their yard. The set used to be at their yard. We used to have sound practice twice a week, Tuesday and Thursdays. Back in them days, that's how sound used to work. It was a disciplined thing, about a joke thing. People took it serious. And there was nowhere near the potential of money that's available. Well, maybe post-COVID is a different argument, but you see what I mean? It wasn't that type of reward them day. It was a labour of love, but I'd say that about pretty much all of the sounds in Luton, because I don't think none of the sounds really got rich from sound system. They might have gone on to do different stuff or gone on their own, but no, we didn't. It's a
Never rich from sound system.
Say again, bro?
You'll never get sound system. No, that's not gonna happen.
Not getting rich now.
Do you know what I mean? And after all these years, we still do it. We're all getting older. Obviously, back in the day, we'd be playing that sometimes 3-4 times over a weekend. 3 of them times that with the set, full set, the big set, we used to carry them down there. Not these powered speakers we got now. Lord God, I love them, you see? I love them.
Hey, listen, can I jump in?
Yeah.
Yes.
Greetings, everybody.
Right.
Yeah, blessings to
Wow,
the Most
Screech.
High. Yeah, manners and respect to everybody. And first
Respect,
of all, you
man.
understand, I mean, and apologies for the lateness. You see what? I don't like digital technology. I'm going to tell them a lot straight, right? But anyway, I prefer that we sat around a table, yeah, and shared our blessings and the information. But that's I know modern times. But just picking up on what Daddy Sherlock was saying about sound system making money. Well, as far as I'm concerned, if Lovelite was just my only business, I would be in receivership now.
Okay.
I'd be in jail.
Listen, I'll be straight with you, yeah? And when Sherlock talks about, he came to the town hall, and because that time I was only a young boy, like an 18-year-old. And I'm going to give you the full history, how we got that particular venue. Now, my trade is an electrician, and I was 18 years old. I walked into the town hall, Luton Town Hall, and that time you could walk into the front door. You walk up the stairs, and you walk straight into the foyer, and bam, you'd be in with the council chambers. And I said, look, I've heard about this Luton Carnival thing going on. Now, I got a sound, we're a party sound, and we want to play at this carnival. We want to contribute. I had no idea what I was going to get involved with. Anyway, they agreed to give us, when they had the little vendors where they're selling their little items with the little tarpaulin. A couple of those, and that was actually behind the town hall. On opposite at that time, the club would have been called Sands, or might have been Tropicana, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Or that would have been Upper Gordon Street, I think it is. Is it Gordon Street?
Yeah.
Gordon Street.
Yeah. Anyway, that particular day, it started to rain. And when we turned up, we said, we can't play here, right? You know what I mean? And it was me, Goose, Daddy O as Owen James, yeah. R.I.P. to him, the original man that gave Lovelite the name. Tallyman, which was Ken, everybody knows Ken, that works at BT, Ken Todd. So what we done, we said, we can't play outside. And we went into the car park, which was underneath the town hall. And that's where we got that big crowd, because it was raining and everybody flooded to that area. And I tell you, that is one day that I will never, ever forget. And as Daddy Sherlock was saying, he missed it. So sorry, King.
Past 45 minutes, yeah, I was just screwing. But really one thing, they asked me about how Lovelite started. So I mentioned the original members, yeah, but I didn't mention anything about the formation because I wasn't really there.
Yeah. Well, the formation was simple. It was, in fact, boy, this is kind of crazy. It was originally Goose, yeah, Angus, that was Goose, OJ, like Daddy O, Owen James, and Tallyman, Ken Todd. It was those three. At that particular time, I was in another sound, and that sound at the time would have been called Trojan. Who remembers
Okay.
Trojan?
Okay.
Trojan was Ezra Simons' sound and Kaz Simons. Yeah.
Dean.
Do you remember that? Yeah. And they hooked up with a guy from Bedford, and that was Quaker Tone.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. I think they called him Q. But anyway, but it was 2 weeks. Those three was in Lovelite 2 weeks before me. That's what. But because there was a relationship between Goose and my sister, and they see what I was doing with Trojan, so they said, "Well, listen, Screech, do you want to come in with us?" But I tell you what, that caused a war for 2 years.
Oh.
It caused a war because, yeah, I'm being straight with you, but it wasn't like a little, it was, anyway, I'm not going to get too much into that because I'm going to save that for the book, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, so the format was then us four. And then from then, it moved to Fimba, Nugget, Norms, and Early B, and myself. And that's the time. Well, Carl, you was in it well before then, didn't it?
What I was saying to them, because I remember when you and Goose had that meeting in his mini, and when he came out and he was going to America, that's when you came out and said, right, Lovelite's a soul sound. And I tell you what, beware this man here, everyone listeners, yeah, because I don't know, at the age of 15, yeah, he managed to make lifting butt so like a glamorous job, yeah. And the worst part about it is 36 years later, I'm still lifting them.
Well, actually, technically, we're glad we've got wheels now.
But that's what happened. At that point is when us lot got involved.
Yeah,
but what I don't know is, with Norm's early films and Nugget, were they around you lot when you was running with Goose and them anyway, or did they actually come in at that transition point?
No, they was around, but they was classed as the Box Boys, which
Yeah,
I know it sounds a bit of like a disrespectful name or title, but it wasn't like that at all. There was a part of the crew, and they wasn't just like Box Boys, and we just use that term, but they were like security. They would be running around. You know what I mean? Like I would run around as well. It wouldn't be like you lot carry the box. I'm not carrying a box. No, it wasn't like that. But the bottom line is they didn't get involved with the sound financially, and they didn't make the decisions where we was going to play. So we made the decisions amongst us for what venues we was going to play at, what music we was going to play, what speakers we was going to buy, and what speakers we was going to build. So we went into it deep. So we said, like, we're going to get amplifiers. They wouldn't have a say in that. They would just turn up, and if they wanted to practice with us, if we were playing tunes, they could come in and join in. But there was amongst the situation as much as I was, but they didn't have that power to make the decision. And it wasn't nothing like a disrespect, because they were my brethren. You get me? It was a love thing, and they done it for the love.
Somebody asked the question, what was the biggest sound clash that you had?
Boy, oh boy, when you say sound
Or
clash,
the best.
this modern day sound clash thing, right? We never really did with a clashing thing, but what happened is we might play with other sounds, like we play with Gemini, we play with Freedom. So Gemini at the time was the biggest sound, reggae sound in Luton, before Freedom came on the scene, because I've got to try and explain this. Gemini had the crowd, they were like the people sound as such. But as far as a set goes, Freedom had the clarity and the weight of the sound. So when you listen to Freedom, you'd like, wow, I like to listen to this sound, because it was important them days. You couldn't come with your sound system sounding half measured. It had to be proper. You know what I mean? Bass line had to be separated, mid-range had to be separated, tops had to be separated. When the mic man comes in, they have to have that musky sound, the echo chamber going. Like, you know what I mean? Everything was proper, was done from a preamp.
If not,
so
you have to lock off in it, Screech.
you done know.
Lock off.
you know, Warwick, innit? You know what I'm saying, innit? Right? So everything
for the night, that's it.
Simple as. So the
And that's
biggest
the
clash.
biggest announcements in it of that time. If you had to lock off your sound in a dance, oh dear, you know.
Yeah,
Embarrassment,
it's not
man.
nice. Not
Yeah,
nice. But I would have said the biggest dance. Sorry, worker.
Yeah.
The biggest dance is not as far as people, even though it was Ram, and this was actually in a house blues, and I think this was in Marsh Farm when we played against Gemini, and we was a party sound, and we weren't really known for playing dub plates, but my cousin Countryman, he done a dub plate for us, and it was a tune like we can make it dance from Daddy Lovelite and man like Daddy yo, but you know what I mean. Anyway, we dropped that dub plate against Gemini, and that killed them. It finished, right? So Lawrence Palmer wouldn't admit that, but he has to admit it. But you know what I mean? It wasn't a clash thing for us, though. You understand what I'm saying, King? It wasn't a clash thing. It was them days. It was more like, you know what? Come and play and enjoy. Okay, sportsmanship wise, yes. Obviously, you want to get better. You want to be one up on the other man, on the other sound. Of course, you did. But it was more of a friendly thing, not like nowadays. It was like now we weren't. Now it's different now.
Hold on, bro. You say that, yeah. Then you got to balance that because you got to tell them about Smith and Mighty.
Well, Smith and Mighty. Well, wow. Well, Smith and Mighty. Smith and Mighty invited us to go to Gloucester, and we bought a coach load to Gloucester. And because I don't know why, but their crowd warmed to us more than themselves. And the man literally come up as we was playing and dragged the needle off the record. All he had was and it was like it was going to be violence. So we had to pack up and go, basically, because it could have got nasty, could have got messy. But Smith and Mighty, Carl, I don't think that was like a big. It was an experience. I don't think it was the best clash dance.
No, it was a clash dance. But I'm just saying the different experiences you can have playing with different sounds. Yeah.
Oh yeah, listen, yeah. Oh mate, sound system, yeah, man, all day.
I'll remind you of another one, yeah. Very quickly, we played a wedding in St Albans first year. Wicked wedding, food, lovely. There was a live band as well, so we didn't have to play the whole night. Then, you remember this now, Screech? We went off to play this blues in Stonebridge, in this house with this other song, yeah? And when we get there, the first thing I thought was, our song is far too pretty. Yeah? I'm talking about the set, right? Anyway, I think it was it might have been a 3-story house. So we sat up in one room, they were set up in another room, but we had speakers in all these different rooms.
Yep.
And all I remember is every time we was playing, but I think we
plug the speakers out.
Yeah, but first, wait.
Paramount Plus. Sorry, 1 minute. Philip, can you mute your mic, please?
Put it to 100.
1 minute. Sorry, I'm muting.
Okay.
Sorry, go on. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
But we finally got to play now. I think, how come there's no one coming up here now when we're playing? I went downstairs. I see they just plugged out all of our speakers in all the other rooms. So the only speakers that was playing was the room that we was in with the set. It's like, what? Go. But them time, it was a big sound. So you had Screechy, Norms, Buster Smith, Early, Fibber, Nugget, me, Mikey, Kurt.
Some underhanded tactics.
So it was rolling with a whole heap of man. So, but if that was a tour,
frozen from under. Sorry, say that again.
I was saying we rolled with about 10 men. Yeah. What was saying if it was like a 2-3 man, that might have turned out different. Yeah. So we had a whole heap of set to get that yard.
Listen,
see what I mean?
The thing about it, we're having this chat here. Sorry, yeah, but this ain't enough time to give you the full history. You get me? And the thing about it, if we had video camera proper, like back then, like where you got your phone now, I mean, you're talking like a series. That's what you're talking about. It's a proper documentary. the ins and outs of what we dealt with.
True, because we had the grid, we had Hemingways after with that. We could, we haven't started.
Listen, mate, you said Hemingways. We had Mill Street, yeah, the garage,
yeah.
Hemingways, yeah. Then we had the grid, yeah.
Grid, yeah.
Before that, we was in Bedford, and we used to rinse out Papillons, yeah. Then before that, we had Dumbos, Pink Elephant, yeah. You get me now.
Well, Jimmy, do you want to take to about
let the Jimmy go? I beg you.
midnight?
Go screechy. Come on now. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy, you know.
I'm gonna say the S word, mate. Last time I said the S.
Now, Warwick, I love you. I always love you. What are you talking about? Go on.
You want to take us up to about 95, because Carl did say, you know, that this is going to be like a two-part. It should be a two-part.
It'd have to be a two-part. There's too much.
It's going to be. Listen, it's going to be more than a two-part. I'm going to have to disagree. It's going to be more than a two-part because
allowed to come out then in the 95. I was about allowed out then.
Yeah. Well, this guy here, Mr. Banton, right? I tell you what. These boys, they slept on my settee, yeah, because we used to practice, you know what I mean? Hard. We used to practice hard. Them boys used to practice hard. And I don't know, I mean, when you say take you up to 95, Gordon Bennett, Sherlock, you're going to have to come in on this one and just remind me of the dates and how things rolled.
Well, I would say 95, it'd have to be, it could be 1989.
Well, I'll tell you what, Warwicker, what I can say.
I joined in 89, I remember that.
I remember when you came in.
I'll give you a framework.
Warwicker, you weren't in there for very long, was you?
Nah. Freedom
couldn't take the pressure, could you? Run again, Warwicker, sorry.
Freedom lured me away with the promises of dub plates and big sound systems.
But what smash it, right? Ricky was round the corner from me, where he lived round the corner from me, yeah? And I'm sure Mark and Carl, you worked with Ricky, innit? Studio Master.
No. Yes, I worked at Studio Master.
Yeah.
Yeah, but but
what are you saying? Yeah. What's happening?
We got certain things through Studio Master, which was very beneficial.
Yeah, you thought that's a couple of mixers, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. But but like when Warwicker, when you came, you went to Freedom, yeah. Mm-hmm. Which there was no gripes about it at all.
No, bad mistake in hindsight, to be honest, Screechy, because you know one thing what I loved about Lovelite, what you know, because I was in Gemini as a box boy. Gemini mashed up. I came over to Lovelite. Obviously, me and Carl went to school. I knew Fimber. I knew you. And what I liked about the sound is how organized you were. I remember these meetings you lot used to have and thrash things out, and everyone had a say. And you know, it was so organized. And I remember you giving me some money, Screech. I think you might have given me like 30, 40 pounds one time.
Was it to go and buy music?
Yeah, Tom. I couldn't believe it. I've never played. I've never even played before in my life. It's like what Carl was saying, that you give people chance, innit? Because I never actually even played. I wasn't even the selector, really. I was just a little chord collector. I had a few tunes. And I remember you giving me some money, and I'm going to Dub Bender and spending the money, coming back with the tune there, you know what I mean? And it was blessed, you know, playing in the in the Mill Street, in the shed there, with Fingers and Swanee them, and you know, good electric of music, you know, good vibes and that. But obviously, because there were so many good like DJs and selectors, the time was limited for me to play. And then because Freedom was like an all-out reggae sound, it kind of, you know, I went over that direction. But it was a mistake because, you know, within a year, I had left Freedom and formed Turning Point. So, you know,
that's blessed, because you see what I look at it, Warwicker. If you got the inspiration from us, I love that. And that's what we're supposed to be about. You know what I mean? Not pulling each other down. We're supposed to inspire each other. You know what I mean? So if I inspired you because I gave you that little £30 to buy music, Love that.
Yeah.
For real,
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Another question. What do you think of the reggae scene today compared to the 1980s and the 1900s,
But you asking me?
1990s?
You asking me?
Well, any one of you go
I,
you go first.
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I know people get locked into what they thought was a favorite time or whatever, but
Thank
I
you.
don't think a lot of the new music is not going to have the longevity as some of the old music you still have here playing now. That's what I personally think. And times change, you always get times changing, and people don't like change. That's fine. But I think the balance of what I hear on radio stations in generalizing, and what I see promoted out there, the balance of like hardcore, dancehall, bashmenty to traditional. Because you don't have to play. There's good new reggae music out there. Yeah.
Right.
But it doesn't seem to get the push. It's not in
Okay.
people's face.
Can I jump in, Carl?
Mm.
Right, look. As Carl said, there's loads of different genres of reggae music, yeah. But it's what the publishers want to push, right? And when I look at the reggae music industry and how it is controlled, and so many artists are not getting paid properly with the right publishing deal and the right deal. And like nowadays, we've got the technology, you could go on your own, but they will only push who you want to push. I watched Shaggy the other night at the Isle of Wight festival. Yeah. So, okay, he's a 52-year-old man. He's made his money. But when I looked at what he was worth, his net worth was only something like $14 million. And I thought, really? Is that what they 14 million? Shaggy's been out from time. You know what I mean? His first track, Carolina, he signed that with, I think it was Island Records or Virgin, I can't remember who it was, but he got £1 million, $1 million, sorry for that. That was on one track. And then he had Mr. Bombastic, and that was another $1 million. So straight away, that's 2 million. So you're going back like 30 odd years. So in that time, you're telling me he's only earned like $14 million. So as I look at the industry and a bigger scale, yeah, like who's pulling the strings in reggae music, right? Who is collecting the change, the money? Now, okay, these artists, whether it's going to be someone like Popcorn or Vibes Cartel, who change the scene and they can bring that different level of reggae music, whether you want to call it slackness, or they just be a bit more explicit with the reggae music, they're doing it for the money. Now they're doing it for the money.
And the fame.
Simple.
And the fame.
The fame, obviously the fame. Obviously they want the fame, innit? They want the fame. But the more time, they want the dough. You got to look at it. That's the reality. Now you think about it. Okay, you're going to say, well, you're selling out. In a sense, they are selling out. Yeah, but then if you looked at someone like Chronix, right? He's on another level. Yeah. But how much are they going to push him? They don't want to push goodness too much. They don't want that because they want to keep. Sorry, say what you got to say.
No, you're right. The narrative don't fit with their agenda, does it? Chronic's narrative don't fit. Yeah.
They won't have that. They don't want that goodness. And this is what it's about now. You know what I mean? So now you look at social behavior. Now they want to socially control the music. And that's why when I look at music, I mean, okay, the new modern music now will only last a certain amount of time. It's simple as that. That's the truth of the matter. It's a music that's going to be thrown away. You know, that you might not play it in another 10 years' time. Yeah. But then you've got tunes, you've got your Dennis Browns that you'll always play. You've got your Slim Smith, you'll always play. You've got your Marcia Griffiths, you'll always play. You know what I mean? You've got your Tony Tuff, you'll always play.
True.
It's very similar. It's very similar in the soul end. In the soul.
Elvis.
Hi.
Yes, Elvis.
It's very similar. Yeah. Hi, everybody. It's very similar in the soul end of the market. You know, I don't know about this new stuff because I just think a lot's been lost. There was a time when you had to be good at something, and now it doesn't seem to matter. And not many people are trying to create something fresh. They're trying to do the same old with a slight different flavor on it. And I think one of the reasons why someone like Bob managed to break the market was because he was doing something slightly different. There was potential there that people could see they could make money from by pushing him. And once he got a little bit too politically strong,
they wanted him out.
They
outed him.
Yeah, slowly but surely, you know.
Yeah, but then when you look at if an artist gets too powerful, right? It doesn't matter what genre of music he's in, they're gonna want to be able to pull the strings.
They do, and that's one of the reasons why.
Sorry, can't hear you, Elvis. You went
97 because are you there?
Yeah, say that again. You went new.
I'm doing
97. 97 was the time that I kind of broke away from it because I just felt that they were trying to manipulate me into doing things I didn't want to do. And I just felt that I was going down the wrong road. Yeah.
But now the technology is there for you to just do your own thing. And I look at one of our local Luton-born artists that's doing really well. And that is Nate Smalls.
Yeah, he's doing great. He's doing great. Yeah, he's doing great.
And he charted #1 in the UK hip hop charts as such. And you see all the other artists beneath him, and they've got record companies behind them. And you got Nate Small. It's his own record label as such, own publishing, and that's what it's about. So how far they'll allow him to grow, I don't know.
But it's good doing it as a young youth to be promoting. And
I love that. So in a sense, that's what's needed more. And I think if the youths, in Jamaica, again, I don't know how it really runs in Jamaica. And who controls it, because there's always a don that controls certain things, because one artist will bring another artist in, and that's how it goes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
let me come back to you. My daughter's was calling me, that's why I cut out twice.
Yeah, okay.
I need to call her back just in case she's in trouble.
Okay, no problem, I get that.
I'll come back, guys.
All right. Cool.
But anyway, back to the Lovelite stories, man. Give me some Lovelite stories.
You know what?
I've got a mad Lovelite story I could share with you. I don't know, you guys might have forgotten about this, but I remember it. Do you guys remember us doing a blues on Connaught Road?
Connaught Road. Yeah, I do. That was that blues. That was Connaught Road.
Yeah. And do you remember what happened that night?
Connaught Road.
Jimmy.
No.
Remember? Okay.
No, come.
And this is one thing I loved about Lovelite, and this is probably why you guys have lasted the 40 years in the business, because of the unity, right? So we were doing a blues at Connaught Road, yeah? And we were just starting up and everything, and some guys, the local bullies, there was 3 of them at the time. I won't call no names. They were quite infamous around the town. Around.
I know what happened.
Yeah. And so we didn't really know what to do, innit? They were coming, they were trying to rob the door, they were trying to rob the bar. So we managed to have like a discussion, and this is how life was innocent in those days, because we decided that we're just gonna have a straightener, right? Which doesn't happen anymore, innit? So we all spoke about ourselves, well, not me, but you know, the bigger man them. We all spoke amongst ourselves, and one man decided to step up and say, just have a straightener with one of their guys. And they said, oh, it was their man. And the brother they chose, he was quite infamous. He was a boxer. If I remember.
Yeah, listen, anyway, Warwicker, let me step in.
Right?
Let me step in.
I just remember one of the members of the Sound, I'll call his name Early. I remember Early B just stepping up and just knocking him out.
Well, look, listen, we can call the names because it doesn't matter because it is a true story.
Yeah,
And at the time, I won't call the other two names, but I'll call Zach's name. Yeah, because R.I.P. to Zach, because at the end of the day, he is gone now from this realm. Yeah, because he met his fate in South London. Okay, but at the end of the day, they kept. Sorry, King.
Literally down the road from where I was living.
Yeah, but there you go. Right. Anyway, so what happened was at the end, they were bully boys. And at the end of the day, we had the spirit and the strength of the Most High. And that's the way I see it. Because you see what? You can't be wrong and strong. That's the way it is. You know what I mean? If you're wrong, bow down gracefully and just eat humble pie. If you're right, yeah, I'm willing to die. If that's the way it is. Then that's how we used to roll. And that's still there with us now.
Yeah.
But King, listen, I'm listening to this conversation. I'm looking, but that is Sherlock. Man, you got a radio show to do, Bridget. We are dealing with.
Well, I'm at the station in a different room, so
Yeah, you're
I
lucky.
ain't got far to commute.
Okay, lucky you.
All right. Can I ask you another question? Do you miss those days of blues and Shabine and them?
Yes,
100.
Yes. It's you know what's I'm going to tell you something. There's two places where we've played in blues here that really struck a chord with me. And one of them was on Skimpot Road. You know where the Tesco's is? There's only a few houses opposite.
Yeah.
Before you, and it was these like heavy metal biker people's yard, yeah. But they gave us the yard for the blues, and you know what? They had a few of their mates there, and we must have given them a change for the yard. Listen. So that was a weird setup. If you look at the crowd that's in there, do you know, it was one of the wickedest blueses ever. And then, man, they just stayed and drunk and they was just enjoying themselves and not a problem.
And that was cool.
So what that was, and the reason why that stuck out to me, because Lovelite has always somehow managed to attract a very mixed crowd. Yeah, people can feel comfortable.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right,
if you come from
right.
Peru,
100.
if you come from Peru,
right.
you kind of reach in a Lovelite dance and just blend in. Yeah. And it's you know what I mean? It's just the way things are going. Huh? What was that?
So I think that was Elvis.
Sorry. This is the problem when you're trying to join a meeting that you're at work, then you get other people trying to have conversations with you at the same time.
Okay.
But I wanted to join you guys anyway, you know.
Thank you.
No,
Carry on.
Yeah, so that blues always just struck a chord in me, just for the complete diversity and mix up of people and everyone together. And that's the thing. You think about it, house blues, the security was the sound. And you know what? Every now and again, people might have had an argument, but it's very rare in all them years. I'll be honest with you, where we had to really properly get physically involved. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to go calm down a bit.
Hang on, for the most part. Carl, let me remind you. Remember when that man Tifa our shit? He stole our stuff.
Yeah,
that's a different story, didn't it?
Did it? Loose lick sink ships, mate.
That's what happened then.
You know what? I think the way to end that story is just to say I think they regretted what they did.
Yeah. Can't be rolling around on farm thinking you got brand new 1210s, mate. Them things didn't come like them didn't come up like that.
Look, anyway, listen. Look, all I gotta say, look, I need to come out of this meeting now. Yeah. And I want to bow out gracefully and humbly. You get me? And I, first of all, I want to thank you guys that have been inviting us, number one. Yeah. And I know we have to do a part 2. And I honestly think we have to do a part 3. But the truth of the matter is, really and truly, we need a proper documentary. We need something for Luton. And that's not just about Lovelite. It's about Gemini. It's about freedom. It's about anybody that's involved in sound system. It's about our culture. It's not just a Lovelite thing here. It's about our culture.
I think safely to say there's enough sound systems where we always looked up onto and had, do you know what I mean? We had, you know, we loved everyone. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and we, you know what, we learned of everybody as well. Within, especially me as a younger.
To be honest, guys, sorry to cut you, Mark. One of the main reasons why I really wanted you guys on, you know, because obviously there's lots of different sounds, and we're running this Man Them Chat in God willing, we'll be running till September next year. So there's scope for the other sounds and that. But really, why I wanted you guys, because it's that longevity thing. You know, 40 years as a sound is
it's not a joke.
hard. It is
We've had to evolve.
How hard that is, you know, to run it. Most sounds, you know, they peak 3, 4, 5 years, they're gone, never to be seen again. You know,
it's
guys
not easy.
hold a level of consistency for that sort of time is quite remarkable. You know what I mean? But because I was amongst the sound for a short period, and I knew how you were and how tight and organized you were as a unit, it doesn't surprise me. But obviously to other people, it would be quite surprising. So, you know, credit to you guys, and well done, innit?
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for the entertainment and over the years.
Hold on, what time is it now? I'm still.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. We'll let you go. We know you've got your radio to do.
Ready to go. We have to work tonight too. You know,
Hold on, what time is it now?
10-2 now.
10-8.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, definitely looking forward to coming back, and there is a lot of history, but I'll tell you what, keeping it going for the last 40 years isn't easy, and if I didn't have my crew, my boys, I don't think I could have, you know what I mean, been part of this journey for so long without the people that's around me. Yeah, so Lovelite is very much a family. And
man.
To a certain amount of years, where we actually know what each other's thinking now.
Yeah,
He's gone that far,
yeah? You're gonna start laugh.
He's gone that far.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can look at a brother in the dance and just look at this laugh, and you both know where you laugh.
Yeah, we know what's going on.
Yeah.
For real.
It's them ones, you know what I mean?
Yes,
but but big up, big up the Man's in chat. Definitely looking forward to come back. But if anyone out there is listening, you can catch us 8 till 10 on Luton Urban Radio. So.
And the thing about it, I know like people listening and you ain't saying nothing. It's all good. It's no drama. It's no whatever, no malice. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you just have to listen. Because sometimes you don't have to say nothing. You get me? And we appreciate the fact that you are listening. Mm-hmm. So you know what I mean? It's always 100% love from the heart.
Thank you, Screechy.
The other thing, just before you go, the other thing is sometimes you just have to get it off your chest.
True.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, man.
And that's what this Man's Them Chat is all about, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Getting it off your chest, getting it out there.
Yeah, it's true.
Thank you for your time, guys.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Love. Keep up the work.
One love.
Yeah, man,
and Warwick, a big up for this still. Yes, Ben's enough. Yes, all good. Take care.
To you all. Enough love to you all.
Yes, Elvis, blessed.
Respect, Screech.
Blessed.
Respect.